Hi, Sally here, and today I am going to be working on a Christmas banner. I am doing a swap with my sisters from Three Sisters Sundries, Susan and Julie, and with Lolly from Lolly Palooza. And so I got the idea from Lori Nunemaker. She did a cute Halloween banner swap, and I thought it'd be really fun to do for Christmas. And so this is what the finished one will look like. I just did one to, as a prototype. And so I am going to do kind of mass production for the rest. So let's get started. So I cut out all my pieces on my Cricut, and I have them all here. And I think what I'll do first is the gluing. So I'm going to put these things aside that don't need gluing and get started with that. So for the trees, these have both kinds of trees have 2 layers. So I'll do these trees first. Let's separate them out. Goodness me. Okay, so these were a Miss Kate Cuttables image. Ooh. And so this bottom part just goes on like that. Doesn't quite go all the way to the edge. Oh man, this glue grabs super quick. Not a lot of time for wiggling around. Let's see. Yeah, and then that goes like that. So I'll just put a few dots on the outside here. Oops. And then some in the middle. And I just saw this tip. I was watching a video of Christina Warner this morning, and she just like dabbed it on a scrap paper so you don't get a bunch of glue squishing out. So I thought I'd give that a try. Oh, good thing I did that because I still have glue squishing out. So there is one tree. Now these smaller trees, I'll set these aside to dry. These also have 3 layers, so I found it was easier to layer the top pieces together because they line up right with the edges, and then these you have to center them in the middle, so I found it was easier to layer these 2 first. So we'll get some glue on this. Dab it off. And now we'll glue that to the bottom layer. Dab it off. And there is a smaller tree. So I'll just hurry up and do it on the rest of these. Alright, so there are all my little trees. Oh, I forgot, I have little stars to put on them, but I am missing some of the little stars. I don't have enough for all my trees, so not quite sure. These ones are kind of messed up, so I think I'm going to try trimming that with my X-Acto knife, and then I'll be right back. So I searched and found the extra stars. They were still in the paper, and so I found those, so I'm going to glue these on the tops of the trees real quick. So I have all my trees ready to go, so I'm gonna set those aside, and I'm going to work on the Mary parts. So I cut enough for three each to glue together, and I cut them out of the yellow, obviously, and then I'm going to emboss them in gold. So I'll just glue all these together. All right, all of my Mary words are glued together. So I think maybe I will glue the banner pieces together. I think I want the more textured side showing on these. So these just kind of overlap a little. So maybe I will glue, get these things off there, glue these onto the front of the banner. Oh, there's all these pieces. So I'm going to set these aside for a minute. And I think I will do the heat embossing. So I used this to stamp this really pretty snowflake background stamp onto the vellum piece. I think use this powder tool. It wasn't quite big enough to cover the whole thing, and it didn't work out as well as I had hoped it would. One thing that I wish this stamp platform had was a grid on the bottom. Like, I liked it because it had the open, so you could put like as big a piece of paper as you wanted. But this corner doesn't seem to stamp as well. So I kind of wish there was at least a grid on the bottom so that if you wanted to, you could like put it right in the middle and remember exactly where you had it. Maybe I will just draw lines on there eventually, but so I'm gonna have to put it in the middle because I kind of wanted to stamp it twice. And I'm just gonna put a magnet there at the bottom. Although I think stamping it twice messed it up. So maybe I'll just stamp it once. I just have this Stampabilities embossing ink pad. I think it's from Hobby Lobby. So I'll just ink it really, really good and hopefully get a better impression than I did before. We will see. Okay. I'll just rub it really, really good everywhere. Just down on it good. Okay, that should be good. So now I will put the embossing powder on. I have this set from Hampton Art that I believe I got at Joann. So it's just the silver. I think that was the bottom, but I'll put embossing powder there just in case it wasn't. Oh, well, it wasn't the bottom. Let's see if we can get that to stick better. There isn't as much. See if we can't do a better job than I did last time. I'm not that practiced at embossing, but I think that looks better than my first attempt. So I will go ahead and do that to the other two and then heat emboss all three at once, and I'll be back. So I have them all with the powder on, and I spilled some embossing powder, and so I'm using a dusting cloth to clean that up, and it picks it up so well. Great tip. So now I'm going to use my heat gun to set the embossing powder on these. So I'll just put that up. I forgot to use the powder tool on two of them, so they're kind of got embossing powder where they shouldn't, but I thought, well, it'll just look like sparkly snow, I guess. So I kind of kept it moving more because it's vellum, and it seemed to be okay. Kind of warped a little bit. Maybe if I do it from the back too, it'll help. There it goes. So sparkly. Just a little bit more to get it more shiny. And there we go. Wow, can you see that? So pretty. Okay, I will do the other two and then come back. Alright, I have all three of these done, and so I cut out some circles from light blue to put behind. I thought that might give a nice snow effect. Oh shoot, looks like I might have burned the vellum just a smidge right there. Darn it. And you can see my not so great stamping showing up, but I think the trees might cover that up, I hope. But so that's how that's gonna look. So I think I will emboss these Mary words while I have all my stuff out. So for these, I just took the embossing pad and just smushed it right on top of the word. And then, sure I don't have silver on this paper still. And I used the gold embossing powder. Wasn't quite sure where to grab it, so I found just kind of holding it from the side with my fingers worked best. So I will get these other ones ready to go, and I'm going to heat emboss them 3 times. I learned this from Jennifer McGuire, and they kind of, well, you can see it makes them look like a metallic element. So I will heat emboss these. So here they look with just 1 time of embossing powder, and obviously I need to be better about inking, and this one looks better, I think, because I didn't really tap it off. So I'm going to do that, repeat the whole thing, you know, inking, embossing, and I'll show you what it looks like after 2 times embossing. Be right back. I forgot to say that you need to wait for it to cool down before you do your second coat of embossing powder. So I'm going to let it cool down, re-ink it, and do the embossing powder and melt it one more time. Or, well, I'll do it one more time and come back and show you what it looks like then. Here is the word after 2 times of embossing. You know, it was textured cardstock, which in hindsight I think I would use smooth, but you can still see, you know, a lot of the bumps, but it's starting to look a lot more smooth. So I hope with the 3rd time it will all look nice and smooth and have that nice metallic look to it. So I'm going to do it one more time and be back. Now my words have been embossed 3 times, and you can see how smooth they turned out. I'm very happy with how they look. They look almost like a metal embellishment, so super happy with that. Next, I am going to just color these snowmen just a little bit, and what I decided to use was the Distress crayons. So I'm going to use red for the scarf and the hat brim, and then orange for the carrot nose. So I just kind of did just the teeniest little coloring on there. Not quite all the way to the edge, because I wanted to blend it out a little bit. So I just kind of, I got my finger just the slightest little bit wet, Actually, I should use my pinky so I don't get that everywhere. So it's just like barely wet. And it does kind of move the ink since this is printed from my printer. I might need a teeny bit more water than that. And then you can just kind of smudge it out. I noticed if I did like 2 layers, then it kind of looked better. Maybe I'll go out further. And just a teeny bit damp and blend that in. Those are done, so I think I'm ready to start putting these all together. So I think we'll start with this little rickrack that I'm going to put right across the top like that. Okay, so I think next I will fasten these down. So I just used some tape runner, and mostly I didn't really see. I'll put more at the bottom because I don't think that will show. But I just put just the teeniest bit at the sides and the top and the bottom. And I'll just center that on there. is how they turned out. I think they are very cute. So I have one more design to do, but that will wrap it up for this one, and then I'll do my second one in another video. So thanks so much for watching.